Good evening, people. So, today I want to talk about something very important. I want to share my thoughts on inspiration and how to avoid burnout, and I want to give you some tips on how you can find yourself in terms of painting techniques or drawing techniques. So, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's start. So, in my experience, it is difficult for beginners to find subjects to paint because artists often, myself included, we often tend to think about art in terms of what to paint. Okay, so we ask ourselves what it is that we want to depict, which is a totally fine thing to do, but it has its limits. So the first thing I want to suggest is shift your focus on the how and not the what. Okay? If we look at a Sargent painting or a Rembrandt painting, we will quickly realize that it's not the subject. Okay? It's not the fact that they painted portraits of people. Okay? What makes them so special is how those portraits were executed. It's the brushstroke, it's the color choice, the value structure, and so on. So I would suggest you shift your focus on the how. Okay, how is something painted? How you want to paint something. And this will allow you to explore technical aspects, and the subject will come on its own. So let's say you are a landscape painter and you don't know what to paint, what landscape to paint, what season it is. I recommend thinking about how you want to paint it. Okay, let's say you want to paint the forest. Think of a technical aspect that you want to explore. For example, the surface of a tree. Okay, if it's a pine tree, you can work with a rough surface of the tree bark. Okay, you can layer the paint. You can play with glazing, and you can play with different colors. Okay, so the subject is secondary. Or if you want to paint figures or people, you can think about how you want to paint the skin. Okay, do you want to paint directly, just apply the paint like Sargent did, or do you want to layer paint and apply transparent glazes? What about color? And what about lighting? What about shadows? All of those things matter, and they are very important, and those things are part of the how something is painted. Okay, and considering those things and focusing on those things will allow you to use a limitless amount of possibilities when it comes to the technical aspects of painting. So think of a technical aspect that you want to explore, and then explore it. Okay, by doing so, you will build a toolbox. Okay, that toolbox will contain those those technical abilities that you acquire throughout your painting career. The subject will come later. Okay, the subject is secondary, and by doing that, by thinking about those technical aspects of painting, you will also discover your style. It will be your handwriting through which people will recognize your artwork. Like with so many other painters, sometimes when we see a painting, we recognize the artwork not because of subject matter, but because of how the painting was executed. Okay, so we recognize painters by their handwriting. And inspiration is easier to find this way because best case scenario, you don't need to have a subject. It doesn't matter what you paint. What matters is how you paint it. Okay? And that fact is very important when it comes to avoiding burnouts. So when you don't know what to paint, when you are lacking inspiration, don't think about what it is that you want to paint. Think about how you want to paint it, okay? And you don't necessarily have to stick to one way of painting, okay? You can acquire all sorts of different painting techniques and fuse them into something that is unique to you, okay? This will then indirectly or directly, depending on what your goal is, build your painting brand or art brand, so to say. People will recognize you, and they will recognize your work through your handwriting, through the way your artworks are executed. So to sum up, when you feel like you're lost, when you feel like there's a lack of inspiration, think about how you want to paint something. Think about how you want to apply paint to the canvas, okay? Or think about light and shadows, think about shapes, think about value structures. Don't necessarily focus on the subject. This will allow you to be more free, and this will allow you to develop your technical abilities. I hope these tips will help you when you feel like you're stuck and you don't know what to paint. And yeah, good luck with your next art project, and see you in the next video. Bye.